Hello everyone, I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and today I'm bringing you a brand new release, 2020 release that is. It was actually released earlier this year, finally got my hands on it though. It's from Abercrombie Fitch, and it is called Abercrombie Fitch First Instinct Together for Men. Now this is a flanker of the First Instinct line. Of course there's First Instinct Blue, First Instinct Extreme. There's several really solid, with the exception of blue, there's several really solid releases or flankers in the First Instinct line. Is this going to be another one, or is it going to be something you want to just kind of pass over in the rack stores? So when we return, we'll talk about that and more, so stay tuned. Hey guys, and welcome back. So today we're taking a little bit closer look at a new release. Now I use that term new release, but it did come out a little bit earlier this year, but it is a 2020 release from Abercrombie Fitch. It is First Instinct Together. Now, First Instinct Together, why am I talking about a fragrance that is not a cold weather fragrance in cooler weather, in autumn? The best time often to find a really good deal on fragrance is when it's off season. Now, this is a spring and summer, primarily summer fragrance. It is off season. The reason I'm doing a review on it today is because you can, right now, if you go to your whatever department store in your local area, if they have a section for reduced rate fragrances or discounted fragrances, you're gonna see First Instinct Together. Are you gonna wanna walk by it, or are you gonna grab it up? Right now, if you go look online, you'll get a ton of opinions on this fragrance, and they all vary wildly, whether it's great or whether it's bad. So we're gonna cut straight to the heart of the matter, and I'll let you know today whether it's worth your time or not. First though, let's take a brief look at the presentation. So in summary, very briefly, presentation is really nice. It is exact same. There's a nice gradation from light to dark in terms of blue. So that's kind of a nice nod towards kind of the oceanic view or presentation. Got that nice silver plate that's stamped on the very side, embossed Abercrombie Fitch First Instinct Together. Now, as you well know, apple is one of my favorite notes, and when I saw that it was in this fragrance, of course I couldn't help myself, so I grabbed it up. In the very top, you get a very fruity open. You've got grapefruit, cardamom, and green apple in the top. You've got pineapple leaf or pineapple, lavender, and orange blossom in the heart. Cedarwood, tonka bean, and sandalwood in the base. So it's almost like cherry picking the best fragrant notes of men's summertime fragrances out there in terms of fresh fruity opening, a heart that still maintains that fruity attitude but starts going into more like spicy floral. And then in the very base, you get your woods, you get your creamy, milky sandalwood, you get your staunch staple of cedarwood, and of course tonka bean is also creamy but also slightly sweet. So it takes this in all the right directions. So this is going to be a slightly sweet, very aromatic, very springy, summery, fruity fragrance, blue fragrance for men. Now, what about the opinions online? It's getting harder and harder to find a fragrance release that is unique and new and different and even slightly challenging, those four things, because it's really hard these days to make something that fits those specific needs or scenarios. However, houses can often play it safe, and they'll release fragrances that are very similar within the same vein of like Giorgio Armani's Acqua di Gio or Paco Rabanne's Invictus. And as long as they make it slightly different but are inspired by those fragrances, they feel like they've done a good job and they know that they can sell it. Now, if you're new to my channel, this might be new information for you, and if you are not new to the fragrance community, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The only time it's acceptable for a fragrance house to follow the same pattern of very popular fragrances is if they release a fragrance that has quality to go along with it. Quality and performance are the only two things that make a fragrance worth having or worth owning that justify its shelf life. Some have described this fragrance as being the love child result of a bottle of Yves Saint Laurent, the YSL Y line. a bottle of that, stepping out and getting blendy with it with a bottle of Paco Rabanne's Invictus Aqua, and this is the result. Well, if that's the case, then more power to it. That would be something that I would really like, and you might really like if the performance was there, if the quality and the performance was there. So let's hope this proves to be the case, and the only way to find out, of course, is to test the juice. So let's test out that juice. So let's get down to brass tacks and see what it's like. Any Abercrombie & Fitch presentation is going to contain a really good atomizer. This is no exception. All right, so that's actually not a bad description. And I don't actually remember where I read that. I didn't watch any reviews. I didn't do a ton of reading of blogs and things like that because it can tend to muddle your thoughts a little bit. And you can tend to jump on the bandwagon, like if someone already expresses an opinion about a fragrance, you can tend to use that same verbiage. Then you're repetitive and it's not really honest. So I don't like doing that. I like giving you my honest, straight up front opinion. But in this case, I have to say, stating that this is kind of like a combination of Paco Rabanne's Invictus Aqua and then YSL Live is actually a good way of giving you a reference point, a frame of reference. Now, if you've never smelled either one of those fragrances, then what are you doing on this channel? Go out and try them, right? Go get a sample. Go to a friend that's in the fragrance community who likely owns them and try it out. You'll probably really like them. But if you don't, then, and you're interested in what the results are, I highly recommend trying this out. Straight out of the gate, I like this smell. I really do. It's very pleasant. There's nothing offensive about it. There's nothing challenging. It's not going down new and inventive territory, but it's doing what it's doing really well. It's very fresh, like that open. Man, it's really projecting well. And I didn't even spray it on my skin. I sprayed it on the tester strip. So it's very, very full bodied. So this is going to be a much more powerful than First Instinct Blue, which is a flanker, which is one of the original flankers from the First Instinct line. It's going to be a little bit more powerful than First Instinct. It's going to be right up there likely alongside First Instinct Extreme in terms of performance, which I get a good 8+ hours out of First Instinct Extreme. This is going to likely follow suit, which for a blue fragrance is really good. Blue fragrances tend to be derivative, slightly generic, and the performance isn't always there. They don't have the legs that we always want them to have. For the price, this one, even as a new release, you can find it at your Ross, your TJ Maxx, your Dillard's, your Kohl's. You can find it for about 24 bucks, 20 bucks. This is the 100 ml bottle. A lot of times you'll find the 1.7 or 50 ml bottle out there for about 20 bucks. I'm gonna go ahead and try it again on skin. I always like to try it on the skin after I've tried it on the strip, just to give kind of a better idea. Have you ever sprayed spray paint on something and you get too close and it starts running? Fragrances can do that too, especially if the atomizer pumps too much juice out. This one does the perfect amount. So this one has the brightness of YSL Live. It does feel like it's got the body and depth of YSL EDP Eau de Parfum. Now this is an Eau de Toilette concentration. A lot of times Eau de Toilette concentrations can have better performance than an Eau de Parfum because those heavier concentration of oils tend to stay closer to the skin and they don't project quite as well. This is projecting really, really nice. Like, probably couldn't ask for better projection than the way this is acting right now. So based on that, okay, based on projection that it's giving off the skin, based on the fragrance notes and how they're working, how well they're working together, I definitely see the comparison to Y Live. It's super fruity. It's like the perfect blend of fruits together. It does have a very blue aquatic feel to it. Sandalwood and tonka bean are making this very creamy, slightly sweet, but just the perfect amount. I think one site that I looked at, it might have been parfumo.net, said that it was synthetic sweet. I don't really get synthetics out of this. I just get bright fruity. Now, obviously you're gonna have synthetic aroma chemicals in this fragrance, and that's perfectly fine. That's in a lot of men's fragrance, and that's actually what causes the performance to be really, really good and to last for that long extra hour or two and project really well on into that second or oftentimes third hour. So I am very comfortable stating that this is going to perform really, really well because it's performing well so far on my skin now in terms of projection. I don't see that that's going to die off anytime soon. Definitely, if you're into pulling compliments, if you're into getting noticed for the right reasons, if you're into having your fragrance make a statement about you and say, hey, look at me, because I smell good, I smell clean, I smell fresh, I smell fruity, I smell like summertime in cool weather, right? Which is not, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to rock out this fragrance in cooler weather, you can definitely do so. Be careful a little bit. Sometimes the bottom drops out and that doesn't perform quite as well. Oils in this, they tend to operate less in the colder climes than they do the warmer climes. But aroma chemicals, it doesn't matter. Like sometimes the cheaper the fragrance, the better it'll actually react to cooler weather. So this is, I'm gonna say, is gonna react fairly well to cooler weather, especially fall and autumn. So guys, that is it for my first impression and unboxing of Abercrombie & Fitch First Instinct Together. I did not expect to like this fragrance as much as I like it. I'm actually gonna try it out for the next few days. I'd like to do a full-on review of this to give you an idea of what the actual performance is like instead of just guesstimating what the projection and the longevity is going to be like. But I'm comfortable letting my opinions sit with a good 6, 7, 8 hours of longevity out of this, with a good 2 to 3 hour projection bubble of about 1.5 feet, 2 feet, because that's what it's giving me. Man, it's really, really nice. So the more that it dries down, it's still keeping that ripe, fruity heart and getting creamier, and slightly, that sweetness is slightly dying off into a nice medium sweet for a blue fragrance. So highly recommend that if you can make it out to one of your rack stores, your department stores right now that have discounted fragrance or clearance section, check out. If you see this bottle, it's a light blue cover, with that typical Abercrombie & Fitch line and the silver plate on the side. Grab it up, you'll be very happy that you did. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out my video today, my first impression and unboxing of an Abercrombie & Fitch new release, First Instinct Together. As always, thank you so much for your support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you next time.